When God Was a Woman, Chapter 1. Tales with a Point of View. Though we live amid high-rise steel buildings, Formica countertops, and electronic television screens, there is something in all of us, women and men alike, that makes us deeply connected with the past. Perhaps the sudden dampness of a beach cave, or the lines of sunlight piercing through the intricate lace patterns of the leaves in a darkened groove of tall trees, will awaken from the hidden recesses of our minds the distant echoes of a remote and ancient time, taking us back to the early stirrings of human life on the planet. For people raised and programmed on the patriarchal religions of today, religions that affect us in even the most secular aspects of our society, perhaps there remains a lingering, almost innate memory of sacred shrines and temples tended by priestesses who served in the religion of the original supreme deity. In the beginning, people prayed to the creatress of life, the mistress of heaven. At the very dawn of religion, God was a woman. Do you remember? For years, something has magnetically lured me into exploring the legends, the temple sites, the statues, and the ancient rituals of the female deities, drawing me back into a time, an age, when the goddess was omnipotent and women acted as her clergy, controlling the form and rites of religion. Perhaps it was my training and work as a sculptor that first exposed me to the sculptures of the goddess found in the ruins of prehistoric sanctuaries and the earliest dwellings of human beings. Perhaps it was a certain romantic mysticism which once embraced me, but to which I now happily confess, that led me over the years into the habit of collecting information about the early female religions and the veneration of female deities. Occasionally, I tried to dismiss my fascination with this subject as overly fanciful and certainly disconnected from my work. I was building electronic sculptural environments at the time. Nevertheless, I would find myself continually pursuing archaeology journals and poring over text in museum and university library stacks. As I read, I recalled that somewhere along the pathway of my life, I had been told and accepted the idea that the sun, great and powerful, was naturally worshipped as male, while the moon, hazy, delicate, symbol of sentiment and love, had always been revered as female. Much to my surprise, I discovered accounts of sun goddess in the lands of Canaan, Anatolia, Arabia, and Australia, while sun goddesses among the Eskimos, the Japanese, and the Khazars of India were accompanied by subordinate brothers who were symbolized as the moon. I had somewhere assimilated the idea that the earth was invariably identified as female, Mother Earth, the one who passively accepts the seed, while heaven was naturally and inherently male. Its intangibility, symbolic of the supposedly exclusive male ability to think in abstract concepts. This, too, I had accepted without question until I learned that nearly all the female deities of the Near and Middle East were titled Queen of Heaven, and in Egypt, not only was the ancient goddess Nut known as the heavens, but her brother husband Geb was symbolized as the earth. Most astonishing of all was the discovery of numerous accounts of the female creators of all existence, divinities who were credited with bringing forth not only the first people, but the entire earth and the heavens above. There were records such as goddesses in Sumer, Babylon, Egypt, Africa, Australia, and China. In India, the goddess Saraswati was honored as the inventor of the original alphabet, while in Celtic Ireland, the goddess Bright was esteemed as the patron deity of language. Texts revealed that it was the goddess Nidaba in Sumer who was paid honor as the one who initially invented clay tablets and the art of writing. She appeared in that position earlier than any of the male deities who later replaced her. The official scribe of the Sumerian heaven was a woman, but most significant was the archaeological evidence of the earliest examples of written language so far discovered. These were also located in Sumer, at the Temple of the Queen of Heaven in Erech, written there over 5,000 years ago. Though writing is most often said to have been invented by man, however that may be defined, the combination of the above factors presents a most convincing argument that it may have actually been women who pressed these first meaningful marks into wet clay. In agreement with the generally accepted theory that women were responsible for the development of agriculture as an extension of their food-gathering activities, there were female deities everywhere who were credited with this gift to civilization. In Mesopotamia, where some of the earliest evidences of archaeological development had been found, the goddess Ninlil was revered for having provided her people with an understanding of planting and harvesting methods. In nearly all areas of the world, female deities were extolled as healers, dispensers of curative herbs, roots, plants, and other medical aids, casting the priestesses who attended the shrines into the role of physicians of those who worshiped there. Some legends describe the goddess as a powerful, courageous warrior, a leader in battle. The worship of the goddess as valiant warrior seems to have been responsible for the numerous reports of female soldiers, later referred to by the classical Greeks as the Amazons. More thoroughly examining the accounts of the esteem the Amazons paid to the female deity, it became evident that women who worshipped a warrior goddess hunted and fought in the lands of Libya, Anatolia, Bulgaria, Greece, Armenia, and Russia, and were far from the mythical fantasy so many writers of today would have us believe. I could not help but noticing how far removed from contemporary images were the prehistoric and most ancient historic attitudes toward the thinking capacities and intellect of women. For nearly everywhere, the goddess was revered as wise counselor and prophetess. The Celtic Ceredian was the goddess of intelligence and knowledge in the pre-Christian legends of Ireland. The priestesses of the goddess Gaia provided the wisdom of divine revelation at pre-Greek sanctuaries, while the Greek Demeter and the Egyptian Isis were both invoked as lawgivers and sage dispensers of righteous wisdom, counsel, and justice. The Egyptian goddess Ma'at represented the very order, rhythm, and truth of the universe. Ishtar of Mesopotamia was referred to as the directress of people, the prophetess, the lady of vision, while the archaeological records of the city of Nimrud, where Ishtar was worshipped, revealed that women served as judges, magistrates in the court of law. The more I read, the more I discovered the worship of female deities appeared in every area of the world, presenting an image of woman that I had never before encountered. As a result, I began to ponder upon the power of myth and eventually to perceive these legends as more than the innocent childlike fables they first appeared to be. They were tales with a most specific point of view. Myths present ideas that guide perception, conditioning us to think and even perceive in a particular way, especially when we are young and impressionable. Often they portray the actions of people who are rewarded or punished for their behavior, and we are encouraged to view these examples to emulate or avoid. So many of the stories told to us from the time we are just old enough to understand deeply affect our attitudes and comprehension of the world about us and ourselves. Our ethics, morals, conduct, values, sense of duty, and even sense of humor are developed from simple childhood parables and fables. From them, we learn what is socially acceptable in the society from which they come. They define good and bad, right and wrong, what is natural and what is unnatural among the people who hold the myths as meaningful.